Euthanize in News.
Hello and welcome to yet another exciting edition of your favorite online TV series, Youth Weekly on UTV Africa, the program that brings you highlights of the news that made the headlines over the last week in the language and perspective of young people. I am Faith Thomas.
And I am Success Ekpenyong. Here are some of the news that made headlines during the course of the week. Jonathan can't monopolize PDP, Lamido.
NDE trains 10,000 persons in Kebbi.
PDP suspends Bajare, Onyilola and others.
Ex-local government boss jailed for 6 months for 7 million naira fraud.
100 million Nigerians live in destitution, says World Bank.
You can't woo me, Abubakar says to APC.
APC to Jonathan, you are shielding Odua.
Nigeria can win World Cup, Keshi. These are some of the news that made the headlines over the last week. Please join us in a moment as we take on some of these issues. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Youth Weekly, Euthanize in News.
We are part of the solution.
We bring you youth perspective on issues. Youths have a voice.
We have a story to tell.
You're welcome back to our discussion segment. It's still Youth Weekly and Faith is right here.
Yeah.
We'll be discussing a few of the headlines that popped up during the week, and I'm sure we're going to have a nice time. Faith, I don't know which of these headlines actually struck your attention.
Well, quite frankly, a number of them, but I think the one that really caught my attention, first of all, ex-local government chairman jailed for 6 months over 7 million naira fraud.
At least somebody's in jail, right?
Yeah, in a way, I kind of find that interesting. Now, for me, there are two sides to this.
Yeah.
The first side of it is, okay, it is good that somebody is being made to pay for the wrong that they're doing. But the bad side for me is the man steals 7 million naira and you jail him for 6 months.
6 months.
Now in this nation, we see people steal huge, and I mean huge sums of money, and they walk away scot-free. And then you say that somebody who cheats in YALF is supposed to be jailed for 5 years. And then somebody steals a larger sum of money and then he pays back about 750,000 naira and walks away. It kind of gives me this sense like the bigger the crime, the smaller the punishment, the smaller the penalty.
Inverse proportion.
Yes, they're inversely proportional. So to me, in my opinion, it does not make any sense. It's more like the EFCC finds a wounded game already bleeding, looks weak, and then just, exhibits so much power over it. But the one that has got a lot of game left in it, a lot of strength, a lot of fight, they let those ones go. I really can't strike the balance. It doesn't. For me, it really doesn't seem to make so much sense.
According to you, there isn't much to celebrate about the fact that you are jailing somebody, for such a crime, if we're not feeling the impact or seeing it as something that could serve as a deterrent.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it like that per se. I agree that it is good they jail him. I'm not saying they shouldn't jail him, but I'm saying that there should be a stiffer sentence, or they should see through their actions.
Yes,
don't jail one guy.
You shouldn't be smiling out of jail.
Like a local government, jail the people that are actually doing the wrong thing. So yes, this is a step forward, but I do not find it impressive in any way.
Yeah, I feel this is very important because young people was hit here.
Yeah.
Having these scenarios keep popping on shows that we're not serious about dealing with the issue of corruption in our country.
Yeah.
Well, let's leave that. 100 million Nigerians live in destitution, says World Bank. We've had the argument that. But indices are. We're seeing this. We're seeing whether they are correct or not. We're seeing this problem in our country.
True.
A lot of young people can't take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Recently, we had over 40 million people are not employed in the country.
Graduates.
So
pathetic,
it's amazing. We see this. What would you say about this?
There was something you said when we were talking about this earlier. You mentioned the fact that you see young people. Now we're not talking about children. We're talking about young, agile, grown men with muscles and everything, and then jumping about, hawking about. You see it on the streets of Abuja. You see grown men that should be doing something really productive with their lives, they're all about hawking drinks, hawking pure water, hawking chin-chin. We say these things and we laugh, but really it is very
pathetic. Because they hawk till as late as 10 p.m., 9 p.m. Now, I mean, young adults, kids, and it's growing. The population of these people
keeps growing, so
who
it's
are
very
walking
disturbing
on our street. It's amazing, and this is a huge threat to our national development.
It is a huge threat because if you look at the word destitution, destitution, what does it mean? I think it simply refers to someone who is unable to provide for their need, and sadly, a lot of Nigerian youths fall under that category, and in a lot of cases they have elderly aged parents they cannot provide for. So it's unfortunate that such a large portion, because if the World Bank is saying 100 million Nigerians, that represents over 50%.
Faith, tell me the truth. Did you see this as a yap from the World Bank or a challenge?
Frankly, both. A bit of both. A bit of both, because I found it very offensive. At first, in fact, I did not agree to the statistics, but eventually, after giving it some thought, I figured the authenticity of the statistics is not what matters here, but the reality that is on ground. So though I may not agree that up to that proportion, but of course I understand that in Nigeria, money runs in a very small circle. And
we must appreciate ND for training over 10,000.
Yes, in fact, that's something that should be applauded.
Yes. It is interesting that young people should be trained. We should be trained. Yes. I mean, that's the problem. When you see guys with muscles and all that capacity, they have that physical strength, but no mental capacity to handle issues. And so when we see people doing stuff like this, it's something worth applauding.
So I think ND is doing a great job.
We need to celebrate them. You can't woo me.
In fact, I like the audacity of that statement. You can't woo me, like rub it into my face, you can't woo me. But I think that this says something beyond the words that we're finding very appealing. I think it says something about the character of the man, the integrity he represents, and then what it says to us as young people these days. A lot of times now, you and I know that a man of this caliber, if he can be gotten into this party, of course, it'll be a very huge plus for them. And then he understands the benefits that this will come with. But I think as a person, like you were saying, we don't find a lot of scandals around him. There's not too much unfortunate news surrounding his life. So I think that I would say he is a very good example. I'm not claiming that he is a saint, but I'm saying that I think he's a very good example that a lot of young people can learn lessons on integrity, and then they need to stand your ground. It's not really always about what you'll get. If you read that report, it says a lot about the advice he was giving to the party, that be you in government or in the opposition,
serve your country.
The primary objective is to serve your country.
And I think it's also a very good one for young people to consider, knowing that this man had an opportunity to be in office and decided not to stay longer than necessary. He saw that Nigeria was at a point where his action could determine the future of our country.
Yes, certainly.
And giving Nigeria, he perhaps was the only one that could give us an opportunity for democracy. And he took that step. I think he's an icon in this country. Not being greedy about power. Thank you very much.
Which is unfortunately not something we find very much in Africa. We so much hold on to power. I think it's not just an African problem anyway. Generally, man has an inability to let go of power. So I think for that one act, we must applaud the man.
So Abubakar, thank you very much for giving us an opportunity to feel and experience democracy in a little way. And we're promising that we would improve in our democracy. However, our Youngsters Foundation were last week at Lagos hosting a group of young people, young leaders, political aspirants across the nation in their program which they tagged Young Aspirants Leadership Fellowship. Youth Weekly was right there, and here were some of the events that happened.
What is happening now that I went into politics at the time everybody said politics is dirty. It is still dirty. But I keep saying that if you're dirty, you'll play dirty. I'm not dirty, so I'm not going to play dirty. And to God be the glory, I have tried not to be dirty. No matter the be principled. You must be principled. And I asked some of you here, why do you want to go into politics? Maybe we'll start our interaction from there. Why do you want to go into politics? Everybody here wants to go into politics. Why do you want to do it?
There's been a focus on champions. And what I want to suggest from recent work that I've been doing and some recent research and discussion in development circles is that there's been a turn decisively away from the idea of champions to the idea of conveners. And I think the idea of conveners rather than champions is a very important difference. The idea of a champion is the individual who has vision, who has integrity, who has energy and commitment, and leads the reform, leads the charge over a period of years, unflagging in their demands for results, unflagging in their insistence that everybody deliver, and they create the reform.
I thought hard. I tell you what, the way I answered that question, I think is the very reason I'm in parliament today, because I won that election with a difference of 4 votes. 4 votes. But what did I say? I looked at the hall. I studied the poor in that hall. I knew that almost the ruling party had about 95% of them. I knew that President Museveni was the chairman of their party. And I said the best example is to look at President Museveni. So President Museveni had moved from political parties into about he had been all political parties. So in his youth, so I didn't know the years very well, and all this you have to get the things. Sometimes you have things because you have almost no time to think. So I didn't know the years so well, but I knew that he had moved from party to party, and people knew about it. So what do? I stand up by saying, thank you very much, young lady. I said, in 1963, President Museveni was a member of the Democratic Party. In 1974, President Museveni became a member of the Ghana People's Congress Party. In 1980, I kept repeating President Museveni. In 1980, President Museveni started the Ghana People's Movement. And before I reached 1986, was now the whole new way was going. The whole, those who supported me and opposed me were all standing up, cheering. It was moving, including the adjudicators. They also forgot and stood up. And I was lucky. I was the last person to answer questions. And the Electoral Commission officer stood up and said, voting is in the next 10 minutes. Get ready. So people voted when they were still in that mode, that energized mode. And I said, and then I remember there were BBC reporters. They came to me and asked me, "Child, how old are you?" I said, "Well, I'm 28. At that time I was 28. And they said, "You are so unfair to your colleagues. This is not your race. You should be running with the old guys." He said, "Well, the age allows me because in Uganda the definition for youth is the person between 18 and 30. And then you can run when you are 18. I mean, when you are below 30, and then even if you have become 33 thereafter, it's okay. But you must be below 30. So I won that election with a difference of 4 votes. It was so difficult because thereafter I was taken to court. The ruling party had to find a reason of saying, no, we must repeat this election. So we got caught, and I can tell you in this world, especially in Africa, even with all the corruption that we have in Uganda, in Kenya, in Nigeria here, there are still some honest men and women. There are still some very, very honest men and women.
Wow, wasn't that awesome? I mean, having an opportunity to meet with young people, who have political aspirations and being coached and tutored. Most of our leaders, political leaders, didn't really have the opportunity to learn from people like this who have experiences and dealing with the obstacles to political office as a young person. But here, young people gathered and it was just wonderful. Faith, you were there. What can you say about that?
I must say, the show was amazing. It was very amazing to have Abike come by. It was very amazing. I think we had very outstanding politicians who are currently in office, and it was a very exposing experience for those people who were there. We even had a delegate who came in from Uganda, Gerald Karuhanga. It was just very amazing. And then this is a very young person who is already in parliament, got into parliament at 28, and is making an immense difference. So I think it's a challenge for you, for me. Particularly not interested in political office though, but I think anyway, it's a challenge.
Political animal.
But really, I think it's a challenge for all of us to work with.
Yes,
we need to build capacity, character, and
And Nigerians, young Nigerians, watch out, the next edition is coming up, so you could actually be a part of it.
Be part of it. Yeah, you can follow on with this discussion, find out all you need to know about us on www.facebook.com/UTVAfrica, or follow us on our Twitter handle at UTVAfrica. It's been amazing hanging out with you here. Success. We've had an awesome time here today.
Sure.
So join us again next week for yet another exciting edition. Before then, stay safe and be good.